What's going on, YouTube? This is DJ Knack, your host, Doug Knacker here. So for the last 10 minutes here, I thought I was doing a live podcast. Here I was just testing stuff. It was still on the testing. I forgot to exit out of that and come back over to do the actual live stream. So sorry about that. If anybody's been waiting, like, what the hell's going on here? It's not even showing up on the live stream. So we are here. I got Reggie on the other part here. So we're going to get back into that here in a second. Just going to go over the same stuff I went over the last 10 minutes, just kind of again. So this is the Reptiles Remixed podcast here. I'm your host, DJ Knack. You're going to hear that. That's my DJ name. When I do my DJ stuff for weddings and club stuff, that's how I go by. Again, Doug Knacker, as you probably all know me from the YouTube stuff, and if you see me around doing the reptile things. So anyways, I do not have any sponsors right now. So if you're interested in sponsoring the show, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do for sponsor stuff, but if you're interested in having your name out there and me kind of promoting you a little bit, get a hold of me. If you're interested in being on the podcast at some point in time, let me know as well. I'm not sure the exact times that I'm going to be doing the podcast. It might be kind of random whenever I do them because of my hectic schedule. My daughter's in hockey, so she has practice 2 to 3 times a week. She has, once games start, she'll have games on usually the weekends. Plus, I DJ weddings and club stuff. So a lot of times my days are kind of messed up. Plus, I work a 40-hour full-time job as well. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. We can definitely work out some time frames, and I'd love to feature you guys on this podcast and get to know you guys a little bit better. Get share your guys' info, thoughts, knowledge, and all that kind of stuff with our other viewers, and have some fun in the process. So without further ado, we're going to get into Reggie, find out what's going on with Reggie's Urban Jungle, what he's going to be working on, what he has been working on, what his future plans are. And then, of course, it's Tinley week. So you're going to see this guy walking around Tinley. He's going to have some sweet swag on because Reggie always represents his Reggie's Urban Jungle swag that he's got. It's always looking pretty badass. So without further ado, these are Reptiles Remixed. Now we have some comments in here. Definitely gonna try to get you guys' stuff on here. I forgot to mention this before because before there was no comments on here because I was on basically where you had to have the link in order to view what we were doing. It was a testing thing that I was doing since I had never done the podcast stuff before and to make sure I knew what the hell I was doing. And obviously I kind of failed at that. So epic fail number 1 on the first episode of the Reptiles Remix podcast here. But we got some familiar faces in the house, at least from what I've seen from other people's podcasts here. We got an SS Bronx here. What up, Doug? How you guys doing? Will's hella heat. Always see Will on some a lot of the stuff here. Of course, Reggie has to do the comment. What's up, everybody? If you guys want to ask me or Reggie or anything, anything on the podcast or while we're doing stuff, feel free to shoot a message on here. Love to interact with you guys and everything. Heads and tails. Let me see here. We got Reggie Johnson. And then, right now we got 8 people in here. That's actually, it was better than before, right, Reggie, when we were sitting here? Reggie's the one that pointed it out. Reggie's actually the one that pointed it out to me too. He was like, "Yeah, I think something's up here. You have no viewers." And I got like, how many people like saying that they can't see anything? Fun stuff. Anyways. So I think you and I were starting to get into a few things, just asking, how are things going so far? You had just you had mentioned you were finishing up your 2022 season. So
yep. So I'm actually just finishing up my 22 ball python breeding season, getting the start for 23 headed up. I was making my parents and fattening up these animals and getting everything situated for this upcoming season. I do breed year round, but a bulk of my stuff goes when everybody else's goes. But if she's up to size and they're both healthy, then I pair them up. So I'm looking forward to this next group of clutches.
All right. So yeah, same. I was just looking at this thing here. Heads and tails, everything good now though, right? It says I kind of switch back and forth. I'm not sure what that is. It says waiting on Hissy Fit to join. Is everybody seeing me on here or? So now
I can see it on my phone. I got my phone down here.
It's looking. Oh, okay. Everything's good
And
now.
it started
All right.
blasting on my TV too, so I had to run out and.
Sure. No problem. And the thing is too is with like I know like whenever I start a podcast or watch a podcast, it says that like Trap Talk or Snakes in a Fat Man or bullshit or whatever they're starting at let's say 7:00, it'll be like 7:01 and it still shows the screen. I have to actually get out of it and then go back into it in order for it to be playing. Like I don't know if it's just my phone or my laptop whenever I do the stuff that I'm watching it on. I don't know. I don't think it's internet connection. It's probably just more so my equipment, I guess, but yeah, so no, it looks like everybody's seeing us and everything's good. Now you said when we were talking before, you had what was it 18 clutches or so?
Yep. So I had 15 by myself solo, and then I had 7 joint. Yep, 7 joint projects. Okay. And still got 1 or 2 that waiting to be laid. So, but right now I got 22 clutches with myself, and then I did a couple joint projects with Keisha from Splash Pack and some with Bob Vu.
Okay.
So.
Oh, that's some nice stuff there then for sure. And I, looking at your Instagram stuff, you always have some nice stuff in there. Your most recent one, you had it was like 4 snakes on your arm. It was like the VPI is Xanthic. Those are like a lavender. Yeah, nice to represent those recessives, right? And before we got on here, you were kind of mentioning that you were kind of refocusing on your project. You have 12 recessive projects going on right now?
Yeah, I got 12 different recessives, and that doesn't include puzzle, monarch, and stuff like that. So I need to trying to reel it back in, but all of my stuff really ties into Desert Ghost, Clown, and Pied. So it's kind of hard to let things go when once I hit the double, then it'll tie into all the hets that I have and the visuals. So I'm trying to pick and choose the best of the best, because I know as soon as I get rid of my double het DG Ultra Males, Justin or somebody's gonna come out with a crazy DG Ultra Male, and I'm gonna be upset that I let the 1.3 go. So
right,
trying to hoard some stuff and make the actual visuals. So
yeah, no, it's I think you were saying too at one point it's just you get sick of looking at the normals and the the single or double gene, incomplete dominant or co-dom stuff.
Back here is double triple hit. So once I start hitting the actual visuals, then things will start picking up.
The powers there just doesn't look like it when you look at them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got the potential and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah. And that's kind of like me too. I did the whole rebuilding thing. Obviously, and a lot of people know, I got out of it for a little bit and then got back into it and everything. And that restarting and it's like, how do you want to refocus it? It's like, you don't want to start further back than you were. You want to, you want to either start at where you were, kind of pick up where you left off, or, maybe even, jump into a little bit better things to kind of amp up what you were at, where you could have been at if you weren't, at that point.
Well, I tell myself all the time, if I know now, back then it'd be a whole different ball game. But you got to go through those trials and tribulations and buy 30 males to 1 female and then sell those off and buy. You got to revamp so you can learn your style and what not to do, what genes you like. And so this is probably my 3rd time restarting, but it's gonna be the best time.
Yeah, yep. That's actually the same thing with me. I'm, basically this is my 3rd, 3.0, right? That's
right.
Now I was looking at your YouTube stuff and it's all the way back. Now, your first YouTube video was about 8 years ago, right? So,
so I actually did YouTube before then. When I worked for the Tiger King, nobody cared to check out my vlogs, so I stopped, and then I started back up again. But then once the Tiger King hit Netflix,
so everybody. You worked for the Tiger King, actually?
Yes, sir. I worked for Joe Exotic from 2011 to 2013 for 2.5 years.
Shit.
I was a key holder. I had my own staff. I took care of 2,500 different animals. I played with tigers and bears and lions and wolves every single day.
You know, I was gonna ask you that because I saw, you know, on your thing, you know, so the exotic trainer or whatever. So I was gonna
Yeah,
say, oh, you know, that didn't know if it was like for you know a zoo of some sort, but yeah, no, you went all out the Joe Exotic thing. Huh?
I still
So
got my work shirts and everything.
do
I
you
still got
really?
the, let me see. I might have it. FC. The, so I went to the FCF convention. That's where I first got certified, Feline Conservation Federation. That's where I
Okay.
met Joe Exotic, Carol Baskins, and Doc Antel. They all offered me a job, and I chose Joe because Doc Antel said couldn't eat no meat. I eat a ribeye every day. Carol Baskins doesn't pay her employees. I need money. And
Right.
Joe said, come here, run the section of the zoo. And 2 days later, I packed all my shit and flew down to Wynnewood, Oklahoma.
No shit. That's pretty crazy stuff. That's so like when you were watching like so when the documentary stuff all came out then for the Tiger King, was it like because you weren't with them at that point in time, right? You were
So they were filming 3 years before I got there, but I signed not to be on Netflix.
oh okay.
Because at the time, because I just stopped teaching, but I was a teacher at the time. I didn't need that type of publicity on my name for me and my school. So I signed not to be a part of the documentary, but there's hundreds of hours of footage on me because they literally recorded everything every single day.
Right. And I think that too, that like at the time, obviously it wasn't necessarily about the whole thing with him wanting her dead, right? You know?
So when I
So
was there, he was doing it just as a life documentary for himself.
sure.
So
And
like
then
he had his own channel online, he had his own TV show. Like I met Shaq 2 times. Like a lot of famous people came to the show. We give them tours because at the
okay.
time we had the largest amount of big cats in the country or the world in one facility. So that's how he got the name Tiger King.
Right. Gotcha. Oh, that's pretty crazy stuff. I didn't realize that. That's pretty cool. See what here's the thing, everybody who's listening here. So Reggie and we've met like how many times, we've talked how many times, but like
Exactly. Three,
it's always
4, maybe 5, probably every Tinley.
yeah, every 10 leave, we always, shoot the shit for about 5-10 minutes, kind of like that, but so we've talked multiple times, we just really never really, got in depth with anything, it's like, you know, um, you know, we don't really know much of each other's, backstory and history besides what we see from each other on YouTube or social media and all that kind of stuff. So no, that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. So yeah, so you got into that kind of stuff first, and what year did you say that was, like 2000?
2011. I
2000.
flew down to Orlando in July of 2011. It was actually on a dare, well, not a dare, but one of my friends, I was joking. I was like, I want a pet tiger. And he was like, black people can't do that. And I was like, excuse me. So then I had to do my research, found them, got certified in dangerous animal handling, got the opportunity and loved it ever since. So I'm glad my pride didn't get in the way that day.
Yeah, no kidding. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, you take a chance on, that's a lot of people, in the industry of reptiles and stuff, it's all about taking chances, right? It's hey, and trying different things and whatnot and seeing if something works or it doesn't work. And you don't make it, you try something else or do, try it again or whatever. But so then did you get into the ball python stuff after all that stuff was done, or did you kind of get into
So
it
I've
while you were
always
there?
had snakes like everybody else, catching turtles, frogs, and all that good jazz. But I worked for him before I had my daughter, and then after I got my daughter, I came back. I brought my kangaroo, my ringtail lemur, Arctic fox, and all that good stuff.
Sure.
And then I'm a full-time single father, so I had to choose between if I wanted to go back with the big cats or take care of my child. Obviously, I took care of my child.
Right.
So then I couldn't have my tigers in Michigan because the laws are a little different. I wasn't grandfathered in, XYZ, even though I'm USDA licensed and all that good jazz. So then I was like, I tried to breed boas. I had 3 13-foot boas. Then I had a newborn. One of the boas got out, tried to eat my monkey. So I was like, okay, these are a little too big. And then I couldn't breed the boas. So I was like, I'm a trash snake breeder. So then I got some ball pythons that bred on accident. Did my research on how to incubate the eggs, hatched them, sold 4 normals for $100 a pop. Then I Googled how to sell ball pythons. And obviously, Brian Barczyk popped up.
Yep.
Snake bites, and then I've addicted ever since. So
yeah. So that must have, so basically about 2010, 2009, 2010, 2011, somewhere around there, right? Kind of like,
yeah.
We're getting into like getting really into the ball python stuff.
That's when I started like buying and actually bought my first rack, didn't buy a thermostat, put the snakes in there, left for 30 minutes. They're all at the front of the tub. Luckily, none of them died because it's 120 in the back of the tub. And
sure.
oh shit, I need a thermostat. Let me, rookie mistake, but ever since then it's been uphill. I love it.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. So I got into it in 2009 is when I got into the whole thing too, and I was actually in the opposite spectrum. It's either people are they grew up around it their whole lives or whatever, or they were like definitely afraid of it. And I'm on the side. I was like definitely afraid of snakes for the longest time, and then so I was 27 years old and I got over my fear of snakes. My son had me hold on to one, and I was like, okay, we went to Petco to buy a tank, and then they had me hold on to a boa, which I was scared shitless to hold on to. And my knees were like shaking and everything. And then all of a sudden I was like, it went through my hands and started moving. And I was like, this is freaking awesome. I think we're going to buy this one, and I did not know shit about anything. I was like, oh man. So, but the thing is like, where some people will just buy something like that and then just like, oh, okay, they got a cool snake and that's it. I did like a shit ton of research after that. So when we got home, I first of all, I was afraid to touch it, as I wasn't sure if it was gonna be pissed off that it was sitting in the, in the terrarium. Because we bought like one of those 40-gallon breeder terrariums, and it was a baby boa, red-tailed boa. So it was only, it was about 2 feet long, so it wasn't like outgrown its tank already or anything like that. But I just started doing like a ton of research, found out that Garrick DeMeyer lives in the same city as me. Nice. Didn't know that he was like known across this hobby and industry as like one of the top guys or anything, So to me, it was just like, they were like, hey, some guy, he has a bunch of snakes in the shed. He's like this snake expert in the area. So then I got his number and checked out his website, and he had like this open house thing going on. And that's when I started looking at his website, saw that he had a pastel clown and a killer clown on there. It was, I don't know if you remember ever seeing that picture that he had at one point. It was like a pastel clown here and a killer clown here. And it was like, at the time it was rare, like handful of people had those. Right. And I was like, oh God, that killer clown just looks so cool. So I asked him about buying it, and he was like, well, it's about $12,000 right now. And I was like, oh, I was like,
yes, for me.
I'm like, the ball pythons at Petco are only like $90. I was like, I'm pretty sure. So I was like, damn, I didn't want to know I was gonna have to take out a car loan to buy a snake,
Right,
but yeah, then from that point, I was looking at his other stuff, and he had a bumblebee, and was the first snake I ever got from him. And the first ball python ever for me was a bumblebee. And the rest was over and stuff. And he's pretty much been my mentor, as far as things go.
He's great. I talk to him at every 10 League show, man. Me and him chop it up for about 10, 15 minutes. He's a very busy guy, but very humble, always willing to talk, take pictures. I love him, man. He's a great guy.
Well, that's no bullshit. This is what's funny. So like I literally, I was there today actually. Because I had to drop some snakes off, and I always just ship my stuff right through Garrick. He helps me out with that and stuff. That way I know it eases my mind. I don't say I don't worry, but it eases my mind as far as the snakes making it to their destination safely, knowing that he had like a part of the whole shipping process for me. So and so instead of doing like Ship Your Reptiles or Redline and all that kind of different stuff, it's right, he has his own like FedEx account that he does, and I just pay him whatever it costs for me to do that. But yeah, since I was literally there today, doesn't fail, every single time I go to Tinley, I always stop by his booth, and him and I end up bullshitting for about 20 minutes. It's like, he lives right down the road from me, and I still end up shooting the shit with him at Tinley. Usually it's
a moment.
Yeah. Usually it's to see like, how's the day going? How's the weekend going for you so far? And it's like, it's always hectic for him because he's got so much crazy stuff, at his table. Besides, so like, you said you talked to Garrick and stuff. Do you have any other like mentors or people that like really influenced you over the years?
Yeah. Will from Royal Canadian Reptiles is one of my main mentors. Bob Vu, Justin when he has time, Ozzy, Billy in Austin, and Elion up there in Canada.
Yeah.
A lot of people, man. Talk to a lot of people, and then like a couple of my mentors are younger than me. Like, age is irrelevant because
definitely,
you can always learn. So I'm definitely open to learn because my ways aren't perfect, and I like to snag things from different people and modify them into what's useful for me. So the mentors I do have are very integral and how I run things here at Reggie's Urban Jungle, because I'm still a young pup in the game, and I'm trying to be as efficient and as best as I can for the animals.
Yep. And just real quick here, how can we get some of that dope urban jungle gear here?
I don't have the website, but you hit me up all my social media at Reggie's Urban Jungle, and I make everything here in house. So just let me know. You place the order, I make it, and we get it done.
So you do you have your own printing stuff that you do for, like, you buy the shirts and then do all the printing and everything?
Yep. So I buy the shirts in bulk, and then I have a vinyl cutter for custom shirts, and then I go through a website that I buy 100 transfers at a time of different colors, and all I got to do is heat press it on the shirt, pack it and go. And then for things that I get embroidered, I have a local family-owned business here that's in Jackson that I go to, and typically I can get things between 5 to 10 days from her. So I got a nice little efficient system going here. So
yeah, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I mentioned earlier on when I was doing the little intro thing, you always got the sweet swag and stuff, all that really that badass gear and stuff. I think we had like a whole Reggie's Urban Jungle, like almost like a jumpsuit. That one year was like, was it like yellow, or I think it was like a
yellow. I had the Kill Bill, the yellow and black one. With
yeah,
on the side. So
yep, I remember. I was like, man, that looks dope. It's pretty awesome.
And the crazy thing is, I really don't like to dress like. Outside of reptile shows, I'm just in a regular hoodie and sweatpants looking bummy. But at the shows, since I'm introverted, I got to try and make myself stand out. So it forces people to talk to me, and I got to talk to people. And that's how, you build connections and grow in the community, because I'm actually an introvert. So my social battery gets drained in public. So
see, and I wouldn't have guessed that, just because, I mean, the times we've talked and all that stuff, and it's I was like, yeah, you doing the pictures and stuff. Like, if you go on Reggie's Instagram, which I believe the link is in this description below here, so if you click on that, but if you go on his Instagram, when there's the Tinley part, whenever you hit that part of the Tinley, there's like how many pictures of Reggie with somebody?
60. So that's one way I got over being shy or introverted. Not really over it, but forcing myself to. Whoever I saw on Instagram, YouTube, whatever, hey, what's up? I'm Reggie. I watch you on social media. Can we take a picture? Half the people say yes. Half the people say no. The people who say no, I could care less. The people who say yes, we sit, chat for a few minutes. I send them the picture on Instagram, post them, tag them, and that's how the friendship starts.
Yeah.
I got like some of my best friends are from taking a picture at Tinley. Yep. And, building that bond, and then it becomes more than just reptiles. How's the family going? How's life? And build lifelong bonds inside and outside of the hobby.
Yeah, and that's actually a big part for like the Tinley experience for me. It's like, yeah, there's some really awesome snakes there. You see like cool reptiles and everything. But to be honest, it's more so now for me. It's like almost just seeing people that I haven't seen in however many months.
Yeah,
it's like and there's people that I talk to and they talk to me, and I haven't even bought a snake from them yet. Not that I don't want to. It's just that either it hasn't been in my budget or it hasn't been in my breeding plans yet or anything. But like I'll see them and it's like, hey, how's it going? Like, hey, Doug, how's the family? How do and when I was coming back in and everything, like, a lot of guys were like, hey, glad to see you back in it, and so glad everything's working out for you and all that stuff. And it's like, that just shows the positive side of the hobby and the industry, how people can be, and just the welcoming, and being just welcome into it, and back into it if you've been out,
Right. Well, also, I've got to meet a lot of my foreign friends from across the pond that come over to Tinley, like Gavin and people like them from the UK and Europe, who come to our big shows. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had opportunities to meet them in person. So the reptile shows are good for, bringing our international friends over here. Like I drove up to Toronto in 2019 or 2018. Might have been. It was I think it was a year before COVID. So 2018, 2017. But I went up there with Billy at Mutation Creation and met everybody, from across the pond, and I built good bonds with them. So now I got my UK people that are, buddies with now. So the reptile shows are definitely important for me.
Right. Yeah, that's actually one of the other questions I was going to ask you too. Like, so besides like the Tinley shows and stuff, you mentioned the Toronto one and everything.
Yep, Toronto, Arlington, Daytona.
You've gone to the Arlington and Daytona shows too, then, huh?
Yep. So I'm trying to get out to the West Coast, but this year, something came up, family emergency. I wasn't able to get out to the Trap Fest with MJ and all of them, but I'm definitely gonna make it out there next year. So, but Tinley, Daytona, Arlington are all on my list. I wasn't able to make Arlington this year either because, like I said, I don't teach anymore, so I was in the transition of that. But next year, got everything already booked, so I'm excited.
Okay. Yeah, that's the thing for me now. So I got back into DJing like the weddings and stuff like that. So I actually have I have 3 weddings booked for 2024. Next year I have 23, 25 weddings somewhere around there booked already, and then one for 2025 already. So it's like, unless I know the exact date, like way far in advance, it's really hard for me to plan this stuff. I know that the first weekend, the first full weekend in October is going to be a Tinley, so I just block that off from DJ and don't have any stuff going on. And then there's that weekend in March, which I think is like the 3rd weekend of March, every March or whatever it is, kind of lands at the same time. Either that or I just go on NARBC's website, check it out, see if they have the dates posted, so I know not to book on certain dates.
Well, that's how I am with my new job. I already got March marked off. I got 2023 October and 2024 March already marked off. So like, don't even try it. Don't try and plan it at all.
Yep. And I actually was off. Well, I actually DJ'd the wedding for Schaumburg, so I missed part of it, but I made it there on Sunday. I just went to the part on Sunday because it's a little bit closer to me than Tinley is. So I talked the wife into like, hey, let's go down there. And so we went down there and checked it out. It's one of those ones where it's like, it's a good show. There's like, some really cool people there and everything. I was surprised in how much smaller it was than like the March and even,
I heard the venue was nice.
Venue is super nice. Yeah, it's really nice actually. And actually, now that I realize my wife and my other daughter didn't go, it's just me and my older daughter. My oldest daughter's 10. And so, yeah, it was just us 2 that went there for the day. And, she has a blast. She's like super, she's definitely not an introvert. She's an extrovert.
That's how my daughter is. She's 10-year-old. She's a social butterfly. She's flying around, talking to everybody, doing cartwheels, trying to stuff. So.
Yep, exactly. That's the same exact thing with my daughter too. So yeah, she loved it. And I was like, and she doesn't watch a lot of the snake stuff or whatever. She doesn't really get into a lot of the reptile stuff. She comes down every so often and checks out my stuff. Usually when the babies are hatching, that's when her favorite part is. But otherwise, she really can care less about coming down here unless her friends are over and her friends want to see the snakes. Then she's like, oh, can I hold this? Can I hold that? It's like, well, now your friends are here, and then we'll go to a reptile show and she's like, can I hold that snake? And then it's like, we have all that stuff at home too,
Well, my daughter likes playing because I breed my own rodents. Can I hold a baby rat? Can I hold a baby rat?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not gonna make it past the week, but sure, you can have your little friend for now. But
yeah, my daughter, she tries to name them too. So then it's like, oh, don't name him, please.
37 rats now.
Yeah, well, the other thing is, so the one person she does kind of see every so often is Emily from Snake Discovery. So then she's like, I gotta get a picture with Snake Discovery, all that kind of stuff. So so then she was there for the weekend. So for the Schaumburg show, I think she's gonna be here for Tinley.
She always has a theme, doesn't she? Where her followers wear like movies or costumes or something like that.
Yep. So if you like. I think if you were like one of the first, however many people I
think it was 50 at last.
Something like that. Then you get like whatever swag that they have or something. But yeah, no, it's always fun. It's a lot of fun to just like I said, get down there. And are you heading down on Friday then, or are you heading down to Sunday?
Yeah, I'm there Friday through Sunday, so I'm gonna leave Friday morning from me. It's only about 3 hours for me. I got a few stops to make on the way, but I'll probably get there around noon or 1 because it's the hour time change. I always forget it. So I'm like, let me leave early. And then it like jumps back an hour. I'm like, damn, I'm extra early. What am I going to do?
Hey, better than what usually happens for me. Usually, so I normally go on a Saturday morning. That's when I'll leave. And then it's like, I'll get up and, think I'm on time. And next thing I know, something else stops me from heading out right away. Got to get the kids this and that. And oh shoot, we got to stop for breakfast. Next thing I know, it's noon or 1 o'clock by the time I finally get down there. From where I am, it's about a 4.5 to 5 hour drive or so from central Wisconsin area. But this week we're going to head down on Friday night. but we're gonna wait till my daughter's out of school. Like once school ends, we're gonna head down there. So getting the VIP pass, but I probably will end up missing Friday night when the vendors are still there. Either that or I'll catch the very tail end of it.
I heard there was like 1,500 to 3,000 VIPs. That's not even VIP anymore. That's just
paying for early access, right? Yeah.
That's just early access.
Yeah. It's like, geez. Yeah. And nice thing. So it used to be that like the $15 for the regular pass or whatever covers you for Saturday and Sunday. And the last time I was there, now it's like, nope, $15 for Saturday, $15 for Sunday, which, it is what it is. I mean, that's actually, it's like, oh damn, that's $30 for both days. You might as well spend the extra $20 on the VIP at that point. It's like,
I know last year not last year, what was it? March? I think it was March. So they had the barbecue for Friday when the vendors were setting up and they were cooking food and all that. So
sure,
that was good.
Yeah, yep, yeah, and then it's like, oh, damn, the local shows. I don't know if you go to any. Is there any local shows by you that you go to?
Yeah, we got the Taylor Reptile show every second Saturday. It's you go to Tinley and then everything else is just
right. Well, do you
every now and again?
Yeah. Do you vend at any shows at all, or?
I have not vended yet. If I'm gonna vend, I have to have, it has to be immaculate. I don't want to half-ass it.
Right.
If I do well with the Reggie's Urban Jungle gear, if I'm a vend, I gotta have the banners, the lights. Everything has to be spectacular. So
sure. Get one of those. Yeah,
I've been asked, but I'm in the process of collecting all the stuff to vend. So maybe 2023, 2024, I might pop up at a show or two.
Sure. I've done this. There's a few local shows that are going on here and there in Wisconsin. So they actually have this one. It's called Scaled Up Expos. So they actually come right to our town, the town I live in. So for me and Garrick, it's really awesome because it's about a 10 to 15 minute drive from our houses.
Right.
And it's like $50 a table, so it's not that bad. So as long as you sell something, you're either breaking even or coming out ahead or whatever. So
a couple normals and you're good.
Yeah, and that's actually the thing that I don't know how it is like at the local shows that you go to, but like the low end stuff is actually what sells better.
Yeah, the pets,
little smaller ones,
blue eye leucistics, basic clowns, basic pieds, albinos.
Yep. Yeah, that's the fun. Like I was vending next to Kyle from Royal Ambassador Reptiles, Kyle Hoffman there. We were at a sewer fest, it was called, or they still do the sewer fest. It's like 2 or 3 times a year now in Wisconsin. It's down in the Milwaukee area. And I was right next to him and I had like all this low end stuff and he had all this awesome stuff, like this high end, like Tinley stuff. And it's like up until the very end, he had hardly sold anything. And I had sold most of my stuff off because I was like, damn, I made like over $1,000 at this show, and he's like, yeah, I haven't like hardly sold anything yet. And then at the very end, one of the other guys who was vending, I think, came and bought one of his like higher end stuff. So he ended up making
I think the local shows are more for people who just like pets and stuff. And then we go to Tinley. That's when you go buy your investment animals. So
yep.
The local stuff is more for pets because people are just curious to see a reptile show. And then Tinley is for the more seasoned people who are actually, investing and buying those mid to high tier animals. So.
Yep, exactly. And that's like the local one that I go to here. It's like the people, they come there. It's like they almost just is for something to do for the day. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, oh, okay, there's no zoo by us.
Right.
It's like, hey, let's go to this reptile thing and like
$5 to walk around and see some cool stuff.
Yeah. That's thing that's one day it's $5, $6, $7, $8, whatever it is. Sometimes kids under a certain age are free anyways, and people walk around and they see cool stuff, and you get a lot of the because they're not there to buy a snake or to they just want to see the stuff. You get a lot of the whole like the people the parents like, oh, is it? And the kids are like, can I hold it? And then the mom's like, no, you can't hold it. That's gross. And you get it almost on a regular basis, but that's where it's fun though to be as like the vendor and stuff, even when you're not selling the stuff. And it's always like is it good to let somebody hold your snake if you're not going to sell it to them, or is it bad because you don't want a lot of people just handling your snakes and stuff like that. It's like, and I obviously
experience, honestly.
Yeah, it's like what, that kid or that parent might not have ever thought about getting a snake. Besides the fact that they've seen them and they look neat. But then when you get them to hold it and it's like, wow, they realize that this thing is not slimy and it's not at all what they thought it was. And it's like, I mean, I've had people like literally buy the stuff at a show for it, like the tanks, the terrariums, the heat pads, the, the setup, like they get Cocoa Block stuff or Repti Chip, the people that are selling the frozen thawed, so like they can literally get their whole entire thing, talk to the people who are knowledgeable about this stuff right there, get your info. I mean, I always give my business card out, say, hey, if you have any questions on anything, feel free to contact me. If it's a year from now, contact me. If it's a month from now, contact me. It's like, I would rather you, not get like the wrong information because of some outdated website or something like that, then when you can just call and ask, or call somebody, I can give you other names of somebody who, if I don't know the answer, I'll point you to the right direction,
I get a lot of people who hit me up all the time just asking questions and have never bought an animal from me, but it's nothing to help somebody if it's for the animal's sake.
Yeah, well, and that's like a big thing too for you, for customer service on, even without having sold the animal, right, or whatever. If they get the animal from somebody and they probably are going to try getting a hold of that person, if they can't get a hold of that person, and then you end up answering those questions for them, that's like a major, thumbs up for you, because it's like you know what, that next snake they buy might be from you now, because you're the one that took the time out of your day to answer their questions and like go through stuff with them and stuff. And maybe like, God, the other guy didn't even like give me the time of day. Now all of a sudden, like I contacted Reggie, and he's answering all my questions and stuff, and he's got some cool stuff too. So I'm gonna check it.
I mean, honestly, for me, it's just passing on knowledge and the well-being of the animal. So if they decide to never buy a snake from me, it's no skin off my back. My snakes are gonna sell regardless. But
yep.
So it's all, like you said, it's good customer service, and I have no issue helping people.
Yeah, well, and like reputation is like huge. I know I did the Bullshit podcast with Sean Bradley a few weeks back, or a month ago, or whatever it was now. And it was like there was this whole the controversy thing of somebody had was listed as a female. No, it was listed as a male. Sold it as a male. Person bought it right before the person shipped out. It's like, hey, just realized when I sexted it's actually a female. So if you want the animal, you have to pay the extra $1,200. And it's like
crazy.
It's like, man. And I get where the sellers come from. It's like, damn, you lost out on a lot of money, but like,
you got to do a more thorough job, man.
You want your reputation to be on the line. You really got to represent. And it's like, hey, I screwed up as the seller.
Eat that mistake, man.
Yep. Now, hopefully next time you sex your animals better.
That's what I'm saying. You got to eat that mistake and then be more thorough. Like sex them once they're first shed, sex them after a couple meals, because there are some males with real small hemipenes that you could get confused, and there's some females that have really big, little nipple dots.
Yeah, the little nub things. Yeah.
So it's like you just have to do your due diligence and be thorough.
Yep. And that even goes with the morphs too, it's a lot of people now are putting in like their policy on like MORPHMARKET. Like it's like I can guarantee whether it's het or not, or I'll let you know if it's like 66% pos het or 50% pos het, but I can't guarantee what some of these snakes are, like with their incomplete dominance or whatever.
Yeah, with all the codoms, it's a little more difficult. But now with genetic testing for the recessives, you can pinpoint the recessives, but you got 5 or 6 codoms in there. It's like, it might. And then some are subtle, and some morphs and codoms don't go very well, so it gives a bland snake. So
looking at it here, Will's Hella Heat here, he said, if you're going to be a broker, you need to make sure you sex them when they come in, not take the word for it. So so the guy who did that, he was actually he wasn't the guy who produced the stuff, so
wholesaler.
Well, he works with the people. So it's just that he's not the one that actually produced it. So it's listed on there and everything. I think he does more so the marketing for them. And it's one of those things where I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not gonna like say that this is the way it was, but as a seller, regardless if you're broken, if you're a broker or you produced it or whatever, you gotta kind of the whole this is where Sean is like, don't say this, but like the customer's always right kind of thing, and they may not always be right, but you want to do what's right by your customer, because when you look at the overall scheme of things, they're the ones that are going to be leaving you reviews, and they're going to be talking to people, and their reach could be a couple people, or it could be like thousands of people. Like, hey, don't buy from Missy Fit Reptiles. He just screwed me over. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or, it's like, okay, now might not be true, but whether people dig into it to find out or not is irrelevant. They might not like, oh, I'm just gonna take this guy's word for it because he's a friend of
What
mine.
you know is what you can prove.
Yeah. So it's like, so I might not have ever met anybody, or they might not know anything about me. They just heard that Hissy Fit Reptiles is bad. So don't get from them. They see it, they pass by it without even looking, where on the opposite spectrum, you're looking at shit and you're like, oh yeah, dude had an awesome experience with Hissy Fit Reptiles or Reggie's Urban Jungle. I'm gonna check them out because I heard that they're easy to deal with. They answer your questions and all that kind of stuff. And reputation is everything in this thing. If you want to make it, you have like one bad review can really kill you.
Absolutely. That's why I treat people how I want to be treated.
Yep. You gotta.
I don't give negative energy my energy, and I try to stay positive and keep positive people in my circle.
Yep. Now, with that being said, kind of jumping into like another part of the whole thing, like the industry and the state of the hobby and all that kind of stuff. So obviously, prices and stuff are crazy because, prices like went up like crazy, like when the economy was kicking ass, right? And then obviously before COVID and all that stuff. Yeah, and then when COVID hit, it's like everybody's like, oh, prices are gonna go crazy, they're gonna go down. But then because of all the money that was getting put out, people were like raising prices on stuff because of everything. And now it's to the point where it's like now everybody doesn't have that money anymore, and it's like
back out.
Yeah, yep. So you're leveling out or even going lower, but people are freaking out because now they have all this stuff and they're like, I can't sell it, so they start lowering it. But just in general, like the state of the hobby, like what are your thoughts on like where we are and where we're going to be headed in the next couple of years as a hobby? Do you think we're gonna?
I think as a hobby, I think it's going to be easier to sell the $1,000 and above animals than it will be to sell the lower end stuff, just because everybody wants to invest now.
Yep.
And I think we've weeded out a lot of the people who were just in for the COVID time. So now it's the people who are actually in it for the long haul are here. So I think the hobby is going to be good. A lot of the more exclusive genes are more accessible, and people are going in different directions instead of just hopping on the bandwagon. But there are still sorry, I'm allergic to rodents. I'm in my reptile room with my rodents are at, so I'm surprised it's the first time I've sneezed, but excuse me.
Man, sorry. It's all
but
good,
yes, I think we're headed in the right direction. Honestly, if people just keep working with what they want to work with, there's so many untapped genes and combinations, and Justin proves that every year. I think Red Stripe was, you can buy a Red Stripe for $100 a few years ago. Same with Spot Nose, and now they're, thousands of dollars, and then he sprinkles a little clown on it, and boom, you got a $5,000 animal. So I think if people take the time and just work with genes and morphs that they like, the hobby is going to stay, it's going to stay afloat, because every project you're working on, there's at least 20 people that want the babies that you don't hold back because they're in that project, but they're taking it in their own direction. Like Clown, Desert Ghost Clown. I think everybody named Mama working on Desert Ghost Clown, but they're still selling for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 because people are starting to take them in different directions. So I think the hobby is in good hands. Desert Ghost definitely helped that out.
Definitely.
Everything we've already made, just sprinkle a little DG on it, is going to be good. So I'm not worried at all. And even if the hobby and the market does crash and go down, I'm still going to keep snakes because I like it.
Well, and you've been in it long enough where you probably remember this happening before with Banana, right? In Banana and Coral Glow.
At 50,000, and then 3 years later, you're buying it for $300-400.
Yeah, and it's well documented. Obviously, part of the whole reason with the banana thing is like there were so many males because of the mail making thing and all that stuff. So it's like all of a sudden it's like
6 months. So everybody got their hands and boom.
Yep. But that was the same thing though, like the people with the COVID money that were like, oh, I'm going to get into this because I can make a bunch of money because Desert Ghost, Clown stuff, whatever, and all that. But then at the same time, back in the day when bananas and coral glows and stuff were the talk of the town, people were buying the stuff, and then all of a sudden the prices went down, and that's where you said like too the weeding out of people. It's like that's why with it, if it maintaining itself, eventually the people that got in for the wrong reasons won't be in it anymore, right?
And a lot of people are smarter with the projects too. They're not just flooding the market with that exclusive gene. People are actually holding on to it, building a project, waiting a few years, then slowly releasing stuff. So we're not, killing projects.
Yeah. Well, and that's like too the Desert Ghost gene. Now, did you get into Desert Ghosts before Justin announced the whole Desert Ghost thing and how awesome it was, or did you get into it like after he kind of like talked about
desert? Where is he at? Trying to see what year he is. He is a 2018. So I bought my Desert Ghost as a proven breeder male for $150.
Okay. So
And
it might have been.
He's sired at least 25 clutches, and he's made me tens of thousands of dollars just off the things I don't even want. So
Right. So yeah, and that's like, so I got into Desert Ghost in is it like 2016 or 2017. So, and that was from Levance over at Straight Fire. So Levance is working with Desert Ghost for quite a while, right? And
easy everything.
Yeah, he has got just like the stuff he has is just like unbelievable. Like, but that's just him working on those projects for years and years, and even before Justin even announced what it was, and I was like, God, this Desert Ghost stuff just looks awesome. So then I was looking at some of the videos, and I'm like, wow, a pastel versus a pastel Desert Ghost. It's just like night and day difference. It's like there's like, why wouldn't I want the Desert Ghost version of it, And that's an adult versus like a baby, So it's like
people are shitting on pastel, and now you sprinkle some DG on it, and now everybody wants a pastel Desert Ghost and a super pastel Desert Ghost.
Yep, exactly. And the thing is too, and when I got into it, because it was before Justin talked about how awesome it was, and Justin's kind of, obviously like the trendsetter of our hobby. The thing is, the Desert Ghost, when it first came out, because there used to be the desert gene that females couldn't lay eggs and all that stuff. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Pastel DG het clown.
Look at that. So nice. I got it. Desert Ghost is just so awesome. Love it. But yeah, so like I had to deal with a whole bunch of stuff for people being like, that snake you have isn't going to be able to lay eggs, right? Because it's desert. It's like, no, dude, this is Desert Ghost. And they're like, so it's like a desert hypo. Like,
right.
No, it's the gene Desert Ghost. And it's funny because Desert Ghost, if you look it up, it's been around since like the early 2000s.
Real early. And
the belt.
I think Will was just talking about it from RCR. He was selling female Orange Dream Yellow Belly Desert Ghost for $400 or $500.
Yep. So exactly, you got into it, way early like that and stuff. It's just, it just wasn't marketed the same as it was, and then once Justin popped the lid off of what that whole potential could be, it was like everybody's like, oh my God, boom. And then it was like Desert Ghost went from being like there's so many of them for like whatever low price to all of a sudden you couldn't hardly find one because
you couldn't find a female Desert Ghost for a good 10-month stretch, man. And if you did, it was $4,000, man.
You literally had to be on MORPHMARKET when the person posted it up to get it. If you were 10 minutes after the person posted that Desert Ghost female, you might as well figure that thing's already sold.
Then it came to the point where there was too many Desert Ghost females on MORPHMARKET. Yeah. I think everybody was just sitting and hoarding them after they made them themselves.
Yep. So it sucks for me because I got out of everything, and I did the whole collection.
I remember you did the first Soul Sucker Desert Ghost.
Yeah, and that thing is cool. And so I actually have I have the stuff where I can make another one again. So Exquisite Exotics is who has the most Desert Ghost stuff that I had. So like I had a proven breeder, super pastel Desert Ghost female, regular Desert Ghost female.
I think I remember the list because that's where I grabbed my triple het. Or at the time, she was just a pastel het Desert Ghost, but she ended up proving out triple het for me. So the DG clown I got now.
Because you got the male, right? The male,
the pastel clown double het DG hypo male.
Yep, and he was 100% het Desert Ghost when you got him. But he
proved out het hypo.
Yep. And then you got like one of the females for me that was like pos hets, right?
Yep, I got a pastel het DG. Was just pos het clown.
Yep.
And I didn't know she was pos het hypo at the time. And then when I bred them, I got 8 eggs, 6 clowns. I got a pastel DG clown. I got a super pastel hypo clown. I got 2 pastel clowns. I got a pastel hypo. And I got something else, but it was like crazy because I was literally just trying to make DG Het Clowns.
Right.
And then, you know,
Right.
that popped out this whole slew of things. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, that's
Hypos in here. I got DGs in here. I got clowns in here. And I got everything in between.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the ones you bought from me is when I was getting out. So I think those were the ones that I was holding back. It's like, you son of a bitch. I was
like, I appreciate it. Then I got a Mojave female from you too. So I think I grabbed like 3 or 4 snakes from you at the time.
Yeah. Yep. No, I'm super glad. When I heard that you had made that stuff, and you know, we were talking at that one Tinley. I think it was either March or maybe it was even last year's Tinley in October or whatever. But I know we were talking about it, and you were telling me that you hit on some DG clown stuff, and I'm like, that is,
there she is.
There she is, huh?
Clown 66% pos head hypo. I'm actually getting her tested to see if she is 100% head hypo.
Yep.
So, but yeah, here she is. Hopefully she's ready by late 2023 and good to go. I plan on putting her to a VPI Xanthic 100% het Desert Ghost.
Yep. The testing stuff is awesome. I just saw this here too. Personally prefer lace over DG, but only because I want everything orange and not yellow. Otherwise, it'd be all over DG. So have you looked much into the lace?
So I'm trying to I want a white lace, but I need it to be het for something. So whether het clown, het DG, het ultramale, het sunset, or double het something, but I want to get the right one because like I said, I already got 12 recessives. If I get a white lace, that's just a whole nother project in itself. Do I get a male? Do I get a female?
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's all that goes into it, but I definitely need lace something.
Yeah. That's what I've been looking at it too. And then, so the funny thing is lace is one of those genes where, like, you know, 5 years ago, it was like
nobody wanted it, and then just
bottom dollar, you know,
like clown, and now everybody's flocking like birds.
Yep. It's like, and it's that thing too. It's like clown is like the gene to stick stuff to see if you want to like work with it or not. You know, it's like thing is you can make some really cool stuff without clown in it.
Yep.
But it's just like that clown is like what's like, oh, this is gonna unlock the potential. And it's like, oh, look at that awesome thing. And then you start making the combos, because a lot of the combos, like when Justin's showing off, like, you know, these really crazy lace combos and like, you know, really crazy combos of, you know, whatever other genes and stuff, and, you know, like redhead and all that kind of stuff. It's like, God, even the ones that don't have clown are looking awesome. And you have the right stuff.
I was about to say that sometimes the hets look better than the actual clown.
Yeah. Yep. I noticed that too.
The red stripe coral glow Wookiee clutch you just did, and the het looked better than the actual clown itself.
Yeah, I know that's why I was thinking too. And then it's like, okay, maybe when it gets to be older, maybe it doesn't look the same because of whatever. But that's when you get DG in there, get DG involved, and it's like, man, yeah, if I could, like everything in this room, if I could, everything would be DG of whatever it is. You know what I mean?
So that's what I'm actually trying to do. I'm trying to replace everything in here for either het DG, visual DG, because I want DG to be the base.
Right.
So like, I don't want any normals. I want my normals to be Desert Ghost, and then whatever I breed to it be het Desert Ghost or visual.
Yep.
So it can go like that. So DG gonna be in everything.
And that's a good like game plan for the most part. It's because, like, you know, the Desert Ghost stuff is, you know, it's like, okay, if you have your regular non-Desert Ghost stuff, it's kind of like, oh, you can make some stuff that looks pretty awesome. It's kind of like, you know, your HD version. Like Desert Ghost is like 4K Ultra HD, you know, right? It's like basically it's like your best that you can possibly do. And I'm guessing, like, you know, Desert Ghost lace stuff is gonna be like, you know, 8K, right?
Well, I think Justin a while ago made the white lace Desert Ghost clown.
Desert Ghost version of that, yeah.
Yep, and it looks nice, but it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be, because I like the white lace clown by itself, and I like the DG clown by itself.
Not together though.
It doesn't do too much for me together.
Sure. And no, and that's
the hype.
You know, and that's the thing too. Like the fact that you didn't like what they did together is like a good thing for people to kind of realize and understand. You might not like what certain things do with each other, so you don't do it for the money part of it. Do it for what you like, because that's like the thing. If you produce stuff that you don't like the way it looks anyways, you're gonna end up selling it. Which, yeah, you might make some money on it, but I feel like the passion for what you produce is there more when you see the stuff. You're like, this looks awesome. And if you're on the border of whether to keep it or whether to let it go, I feel like that's like when it's like the best stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. And what people don't understand, all the cool stuff that Justin shows us, there's equal amount of stuff that he doesn't like. And
Right, right.
It looks cool, but he's going through that trial and error to hit. He may have 5 or 6 clutches that don't look as awesome, but that 7th clutch, because he tried those other combinations, boom, then he flies off, and now he can head in that direction with the project. But he's put in the time over the years to make those mistakes, so we don't have to. So we can jump on the bandwagon, but by the time we hop on the bandwagon, like I think he made the Batmans, and then after the Batmans, he was already on to the White Lace Clowns, and then the White Lace Clowns, and now he's making triple visual and quadruple visual recessive. So it's like he's sprinkling us with all the good stuff, but he's put in the work. He's made all the shitty clutches to show us what we need to do.
Right.
Or, or a good direction. But
right. One is thing, you go on his MORPHMARKET page and stuff, and there's a lot of stuff on there that's, there's a lot of stuff he has that's like sub $1,000, it's like under $1,000. It's like, okay, that's not, obviously he's producing stuff that's not, and not everything he produces is like $5,000 snake or $10,000 snake. Obviously he's producing the, the hets or the pos hets and, different things like that. It might have a really cool combo, good potential, but but nothing where it's like, okay, not everything
but those low-end snakes are what he used to make those high-end snakes. He just put the time in to see which combination of those low ends worked well, and now they're not, they're not so low end anymore.
Yep. That's like it's a funny thing when you mentioned the Soul Sucker Desert Ghost stuff. So when I produced the first Soul Sucker Desert Ghost, it was with one of the males I kept back. The male that I held back was a Soul Sucker Het Desert Ghost, right? And from that clutch, the one where I got the het, there was 3 or 4 Soul Sucker Het Desert Ghosts in that clutch. Then there was like a lesser Het Desert Ghost, and then 2 Hidden Gene Woma Het Desert Ghosts, right? One was a male, one was a female. I
remember those YouTube videos too.
Yeah,
I remember them.
That was like when I had some awesome luck in my odds. Now my
luck look forward to your YouTube videos because you had some dope. You got dope stuff right now, but back then you were ahead of the DG game.
Yeah, the DG stuff was like, because I was kind of doing it around the same time as where a lot of people weren't into it yet.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, Levance is for as much awesome stuff as Levance has, he doesn't have like YouTube. So like he promotes it on Instagram. He'll like show pictures on Instagram, which is like, you drool every time you look at his stuff on Instagram. But like, but besides Justin, there wasn't a lot of people that had the DG stuff to show on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And not that I had a lot, but the few that I did have was like, you saw it and it was impressive. And it's not, like the Super Pastel Desert Ghost as an adult was so impressive because it looked like, well, shit, actually, it's like that snake behind me on that banner. That's the Super Pastel Desert Ghost at like 700 grams, and it's like, and it wasn't like, that was the lighting. That wasn't photoshopping it or anything. That was just like the lighting on it, and I spent $1,500 on it at the time, and it's like, man, it was just awesome. But the Soul Sucker thing, when Justin, I gave him a list of those Soul Sucker Het Desert Ghosts and the Hidden Gene Woma Het Desert Ghosts and stuff. And I was like, hey, are you interested in any of this stuff? And he's like, yeah, I'll take a female Hidden Gene Woma Het Desert Ghost. I was like, all right, I got the Soul Suckers too. I have 2 female Soul Sucker Het Desert Ghosts, 2 male Soul Sucker Het Desert Ghosts. And then I had like, a pair of the Hidden Gene Womas. And then I can't remember, I think the lesser was a male or something like that, and he's like, yeah, no, I'll take the Hidden Gene Woma Het Desert Ghost. He's like, can you ship it tomorrow? I'm like, oh, well, they just had they just hatched. Like they haven't even like had their first shed yet. He's like, oh, that's all right.
Right.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, a lot of people like to actually get them before they eat so they can acclimate them to their system and regimen.
Yep. So it's funny because like if you go on MORPHMARKET, like everybody's like, I will not ship unless they've had 3 or 4 meals or 5 meals or whatever, and it's all this different stuff. The thing is like, I don't know. I kind of do my research on if somebody's gonna buy a snake from me. If it doesn't seem like they had much experience, you can usually tell by the way people talk,
right? Yeah.
Or they're messaging you and stuff like that. It's like, okay, this was probably their first snake, so yeah, I'd rather get that thing eating and stuff.
And like you said, you can judge who can handle these type of things. You know what I'm saying? Who's seasoned and know how to get an animal started, because it is a risky investment to buy an animal that has not eaten.
Right, exactly, because you
So
don't
you have
know.
to be confident in your abilities to,
Yep,
do such.
exactly. So like when Justin was like, I'm like, all right, it's the first time I've ever done that shit, and that snake hasn't even shed yet, So I was like,
Right.
and he's like, yeah,
Still got the glue on it.
I'd like to do that and stuff, and get it acclimated myself, and like, sure enough, and I don't know if he ended up, for making whatever out of it. And I don't think I've ever seen a video from him on that. Thing is always like I missed a lot of videos when I was out of the game for a little while there.
Right.
I wasn't even like, I was so, I don't know, mentally, I don't want to say fucked up, but I was kind of mentally fucked up with a lot of stuff. And
You're getting yourself together, man.
pull myself back together. And I could care less about anything snake related, because I was like, I'm not going to be in it anymore. What's it matter? Why am I, I'm not going to bother with it. But then, things happen or whatever, and the itch comes back. That
I was about to say, honestly, because I'm a self-aware depressed man. The reptile hobby and community has definitely helped me through my struggles. When I'm feeling down, I can talk to a couple people about snakes, and sit in the snake room as we are, and just have a conversation, and it gets me back in the right headspace to do what I need to do. But the community is definitely good for mental health, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and for me, it was like, because I was so obsessed with the hobby and what I wanted to get and what I was working on, and trying to like, I think I was trying to prove like everybody that didn't believe in what I was doing. I was trying to prove them wrong so hard, and then trying to like, I'll admit it. I was envious of like people like Miguel and other people who were able to just get in it and just freaking go. Oh, thank you.
Oh, sorry, my daughter was. It's my daughter's bed. She was asking if she could stay up, so I was like, I gave her a couple more.
Oh, sure. I started talking. I'm like, oh shoot, did I press something here?
Oh no, that was me.
Oh, no problem. But yeah, so I was like, God, I'm trying to get to this certain point and stuff, and I was trying to do too much with too little. I mean, I'm pretty middle class. I don't have like an extravagant, amount of money for all this different stuff, and it's like what I had and I was trying to do. It was, just.
Hey, hold on, give me 1 second, real quick, Doug.
Sure. Actually, hey, while Reggie's over there and stuff, just to give you guys a heads up. I mentioned it before, but if you guys are logged on now and checking the stuff out, if you're interested in being on this podcast and shooting the shit with Hissy Fit Reptiles, just let me know. Shoot me a message on Instagram. You can message me on Facebook Messenger, email me, hissyfitreptiles@gmail.com. And, I'd love to have you guys on here, share your story, share your thoughts and opinions on stuff. Trying to, there's a lot of really awesome breeders that, get interviewed by a lot of the other podcasts and stuff. And, there's definitely a lot of people who, haven't had their shot to shine or whatever. So, feel free to let me know. I'm not saying that this podcast is going to be, groundbreaking or anything like that, but we'll definitely have some fun, shoot the shit a little bit, talk about projects and whatnot. Take a look at some of the comments here. That's the one thing I got to get used to, is kind of looking at these comments and stuff like that.
All right, my bad, daddy duties.
Yeah, no problem. I was just kind of letting everybody know that, if you're interested in, joining the podcast, in the future, let them know to check it out and get a hold of me and all that stuff. So I was able to fill the time a little bit.
Good deal.
But I don't know. I like I said, I was in a bad headspace, and the hobby, not that the hobby was hurting it and hurting my family and stuff. That was all me. I was the one that made the conscious decisions to do what I was doing. I was in the bad headspace, and I needed to get away from what was causing that, which was like the overwhelming fact of trying to do so much with what I knew and I shouldn't have been able to do or shouldn't have done. I was, taking out loans, high interest loans for these snakes, because I had already exhausted all my other options for getting the money for them. So, and I was like, oh, I was banking on, I'm going to make all these cool combos, and I'm going to sell them, and I'm going to have all this money to buy this other stuff. And then, what happens is when you count your chickens before they hatch, and literally with ball pythons, and like, oh shit, I didn't hit on any visual recessives on this clutch that I should have, or I could have made like 5 of them or whatever, or 3 of them. I made none. And next one, oh shoot, slugged out. Oh man, one of the eggs or a couple of the eggs went bad in the incubator. It's like next thing you know, you have, pos het stuff or just regular het stuff, and it's not selling like you thought it was going to. And
I had a year like that where started to become more about the money, and like you said, you didn't hit what you were supposed to hit, so I had to reel myself back in and be back in it for the love of the animals and producing the genetics and like that. And then once you focus on the animals, the money comes.
Yep. And that's this thing too. It's a funny thing with my wife. So my wife's like cool with me being in it now. Except for the fact that she's like, oh, I thought you said you're gonna make whatever money. I'm like, hey, I told you that it's gonna be a little bit of time, but I basically like whatever I make from the snake sales, I always just like, here you go. I want you to do something for yourself, buy some stuff for yourself, whatever, but like she's one of those people though that like if she doesn't see the immediate results of things, like she thinks it's not working out right. Like when I got back,
the wrong hobby then.
I know, right? Well, that's even like when I got back into DJing again. When I got like I stopped DJing in like 2011, somewhere around there, and then like the job I had gotten, I was working weekends, so I really couldn't DJ, and because I can't dedicate time to something that I know I'm gonna have to work my other job, and so then when I messed my shoulder up right around the time I was getting rid of all the snakes and stuff, and that was like basically helping pay our bills was the snakes.
Right.
And my thought process was like, I'll maybe get back into the snakes, but not right away. But I had gotten an offer to go back to my old job, which paid way less than the paper mill that I was working at. Right. And I was like, oh man, if I do that, I'm gonna need to figure out something like to make extra money, because there's gonna be like a huge pay decrease, And so I was like, hey, if I go back into DJing again, I can really hit the marketing thing and do better than I ever did before. Because the previous time with DJing, there was no really, Facebook was like kind of taking off, and people weren't really marketing a lot on Facebook or other social media. It was basically you had to pay for your advertisements in like newspapers, your banner ads and all that kind of stuff. So when I got back into it, I was like, okay, kind of hit the ground running and bought my old gear back, got some new gear a little bit. Booked some gigs. I'm like, all right, here we go. And then all of a sudden COVID hit like right away. And so all these gigs I had booked for like that summer, these weddings and stuff, they're like, hey, we can't do it because like literally you couldn't, like the state was shut down. They wouldn't allow for public events and stuff, right? So like you either had to cancel or move to like the following year. So all of a sudden here we are in the months, that I should have had like, a couple of gigs a month or whatever. My wife's like, I told you this is a stupid idea. You shouldn't have quit your other job. Now we're screwed because your DJ thing's not going to do what you want it to do. And I'm like, and it's just like, and she's, like I said, she like has to see that immediate result. But now it's like crazy. I have 34 weddings this year. I have 23 or 25 or whatever booked for next year. Like I said, I have some booked for 2024, 2025. It's like, it's way better than like in the summertime. I make more money on my DJing than I do on my full-time job.
Right.
Like,
I mean, great things come to those who wait, man.
Yeah. Yep. And it's you got to be kind of dedicated to it. Like, I don't like, what's nice now is because of the DJ and stuff, and I'm working my full-time job. I'm not working weekends like for my regular job. I'm not working like a weird Southern swing shift. So I'm able to focus some more time on the family and doing other stuff. My daughter is able to do hockey because of it and all that. But I told my wife the thing is the snakes is I really want to use it as kind of like a retirement thing too. Like right now I'm 40 years old right now. So sitting here at 40, I'm like, all right, I can DJ probably for another 10 to 15 years before it gets to be where it's a pain in my ass, and by the time that's all said and done, hopefully this room I'm in right now, I got like a bunch of movies on this side and stuff, but eventually I'm hoping there'll be snakes here, snakes all on that other wall. And then I actually have a big walk-in closet that'll eventually become the baby room, right?
Right.
So at capacity in this room, I should be able to do like 120 adult females and about 40 or 50 adult males if need be. And then I have a whole entire little room for baby snakes that I could probably fit about a good 300 to 400 in there.
Yeah.
So
solid clutches, man. And
so I'm like that in 15 years, looking at the long haul, if I can have a good, the snake stuff's doing all right, even if I'm not making major bank on it, just having like that at this capacity in this room, that could be a good retirement. Say, hey, I can retire at 60 instead of 65 or whatever, because the snake money is doing good and we're paying our house off or whatever.
Right.
I'm kind of trying to right the wrong that I tried to do with it before. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you're patient and you do your due diligence, man, 2 or 3 clutches, that could be life changing, man. Especially with going for doubles and triple recessives. I mean, you hit a couple DG hypo clowns. I want to say Fireball sold 5 DG hypo clowns for $25K a pop.
Yep.
I mean, that's fucking 125,000 off of one clutch, and you're talking about 150 females. If you get to where you need to be, you play your cards right, and the odds are in your favor. I mean, you really can't lose.
Right. Yep, exactly. And that's like Miguel just released a video just recently, and it was like $90,000 clutch or whatever it was, and then it was like a couple days later, it's like another $100,000 clutch.
Like, oh, you have about 20 of those, huh, good sir?
Right? It's like, man, my problem would be though if I hatched out those really badass clutches like that, because I'm a sucker for like getting some different shit. I'd be like, oh yeah, you want to do a trade? Sure,
trades are where it's at.
Right, exactly. Well, because I know, like, okay, I don't have Zebra, and I think Zebra looks pretty cool. Now, I don't know if it's gonna pan out to be like better than like Desert Ghost or Lace or that kind of stuff, but that stuff is looking tight. I don't know if you saw the Zebra stuff.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing though. People wait too long. Like, you have to take a risk.
Right.
Like, people are iffy on Zebra, but get in now. I mean, you win some, you lose some. I think Genetic Stripe and Clown came out at the same time.
Yeah.
I forgot who was it. I want to say it might have been Queen City or something. They said they had the choice to get Genetic Stripe and Clown, and they chose Genetic Stripe, and Justin chose Clown. Like, you win some, you lose some, but now G-Stripe's making a comeback.
Yeah, G-Stripe's making a major comeback. It's like I remember Garrick posted a Genetic Stripe video like a year ago or two, and it was like there's some pretty badass combos coming out with the G-Stripe Clown combos, and now people are putting like Desert Ghost in the G-Stripe and stuff. It's like, man, it's some really cool stuff.
What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I got 5 G-Stripe combos or double visuals over here, and like you said, I'm putting it with the Clown, and the Kiki project is crazy.
So the Kiki, you mentioned before, and actually that's the one thing I hadn't heard of, the Kiki project. What is
Genetic Stripe Clown?
Oh, okay, that's what they're calling it. Okay.
So Kevin Bluford over at Ninja Balls, he's actually one of my good friends. He started it, and it's excelled from there, man. The Genetic Stripe is void of a back pattern. The Clown is a genetic black pack, recessive, and they fight each other, and it looks like a whirlwind, and it's freaking awesome. And then Justin's making all these DG Kikis, and Ozzy's making the red stripe Mojave, tossing it in there for the Genetic Stripe Clown. But that's actually going to be one of my focuses for double recessives. It's pretty dope, man. I love it.
Yep. Nixon Reptiles here says too. Just got to have the right ingredients. That's like the biggest thing.
He got the right ingredients, man. His sunset stuff over there is legit, man. I'm gonna have to sneak by and get some things from him, man. I was hoping he'd let go one of those double head DG sunset females, but he's not.
And Will's Hull here has asking you your opinion on this. Or what's your opinion on Striker as being very similar to Zebra?
I have never seen Striker, so I can't speak on it, but I do think the Zebra is going to be nice. Like I said, I'm poor, so I cannot afford Zebra at the moment.
Right. Even the Het Zebra stuff is expensive.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So hopefully if my monsoon stuff takes off, I can have a little money to maybe dabble in. But like I said earlier, I'm already in 12 recessives. Do I really want to add 13? I don't even have Puzzle or Monarchs.
Right. And that's the thing too. It used to be like when I first got into the whole hobby, there was not this many. Obviously it's like every year there's like more and more that come out. But for recessives, your recessives, you're looking at like albino, lavender albino was kind of like newer with the dreamsicle stuff and everything. Genetic Stripe Clown, your Axanthics and stuff. Yeah.
Then that's also what keeping the hobby thriving, though, because we're coming out with new genes, 2-3 new genes every year, and it's keeping it exciting. And mix and matching and figure out what works for what.
Yep, exactly. You remember this, Gene, but remember the caramel albino? It was
Well,
like,
the
well, that
caramel
was
albino hypo clown. I
yep.
was obsessed with.
Okay, yep.
Makes
And that
I
was
love
it was like crazy because if you got one that wasn't kinked, it was like, damn, you had like an awesome snake, right? But then
Yeah.
because of the issues in the kinking and just in general, caramel albino was like definitely not sought after.
Well,
And
I want to say Will, he said something about if you go head to head instead of visual to head or visual to visual, you had less, or in his experience, you had less kinking.
Really?
So that's what he said, because he said he started off with I want to say a pinstripe caramel albino and a couple head females, and he said when he did head to head, he had less genetic deformities.
Okay. I think I remember too. Do you remember seeing like some of those were like almost like the backs were fused together with other parts of the back? It wasn't even just kinking, it was like fusing together. It was a really weird thing. Yeah. And it was like
fused.
Yep. So I wanted to get into the caramel albino, but then all of a sudden Ultramel came around. It was like, okay, this is just like your ultimate version of it, and then
somewhere.
So Ultramel stuff is pretty hot. I mean, there's some of the stuff that you can do with the Ultramel. It's just like, man, by itself, it's a nice gene, but you start throwing in some of those other combos in there. Yep.
And he's also hit hypo. And then I got a 28, 3,000 gram female at Bob's right now. I'm doing joint project with.
Sure. And Bob's got some awesome stuff. I had I got to see him over at the last Tinley show, the March one, I did the interview thing with them.
Yep.
Just give everybody a heads up too. Since I'm gonna be at Tinley again, I'm gonna try to do the whole Tinley video thing again. So shortly after the show is done, with a week or two after the show, I'll hopefully have enough footage to kind of throw in a couple more of those interview videos. It's like my YouTube is kind of get off topic here, but my YouTube stuff is funny because like collection videos and my interviews from Tinley are like the main things. Like anything beyond that, it's like I'll get a couple hundred people to watch this or that, whatever. But like if it's a collection video, I can pretty much bank that it's gonna do pretty decent. And those Tinley interviews, obviously, because you got like some major hitters in there and stuff. So,
well, it's crazy. So I got like almost 175 videos on YouTube, and my top 5 videos are my elephant trunk snake videos.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's like I got 15,000 views on the elephant trunk snake videos, but I'm showing off my monsoon shit, and it's like 200 views.
Yep.
So it's snakes I really don't even work with get the most, but they're uncommon. There's not a lot of information. I think I got like 50% of the YouTube videos on elephant trunk snakes, but
yeah, yep. No, I think the ones that I've seen from the elephant trunk snakes were from your videos anyways. Like, because I didn't even know what the hell it was, and all of a sudden I was like, whoa, what is this? And then I was like, I realized it was your video, and I was like, oh, sweet.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah. So getting back into like the recessive stuff and everything, like we know, like the zebra and all that kind of stuff. Is there obviously you're working with like 12 of them already? And you mentioned like Puzzle and Monarch. Are those your next kind of like the ones you're looking at getting next into there, or are you going to hold off on?
For me, Monarch and Ultramel, they're not the same, but they're similar.
Yep.
One is, Monarch to me is more of a toffee kind, more like I want to say burgundy albino. Like,
sure.
For me, I can't really tell the difference of a burgundy albino and a Monarch, but I don't want to start no controversy. But I do want to get into Puzzle. The Puzzle's a big one. I don't know why I'm not in it yet.
You've been seeing like the DG puzzle stuff that I think Ozzy's been posting.
I'm on Will's Patreon, man.
Will, yeah.
We're engulfed in DG Puzzle, and I love everything. But the DG Puzzle's nice. He got some nice, I want to say Orange Dream, Red Stripe, Spot Nose puzzles. He got the Puzzle Clowns. He's working with some other genes in there, so I definitely want to get into Puzzle. I'm building my Het Sunset army now. I got double Het Sunset Clowns, double Het Sunset Pies, double Het Sunset Hypos. I need to get a double Het Sunset Ultramel, and I need a double Het Sunset DG female. and then I'll be okay. But I am picking up a sunset male at Tinley this weekend,
Nice.
so hopefully he grows and ready to breed next year. Then I can use him like I did my DG male. But sunset, monsoon, tri-stripe, I'm heavy in. She should be laying here in about a month and a half, a month. Black pastel hypo het tri, the hypo het tri.
Sure.
So I got a 1 in 4 chance to make hypo tries. I got some inchy tri-stripe stuff coming. Morph Minded, I just did a trade with him. I'm getting a triple het DG hypo tri-stripe female from him. So
yeah, that tri-stripe stuff is pretty sweet too. Like that's one I've seen that for quite a while, and I was like, oh man, I should probably get into that eventually here. And then I just, end up getting into whatever else, right? I'm getting all the other stuff I've gotten. But yeah, that tri-stripe is pretty cool. I like it.
So here's my male. He's a 60-40, so about 60% of them is tri-stripe, and the back half just looks normal.
Sure.
But the front half is we're tri-stripe in there. So
yep.
But
very cool. Very cool. What was I gonna go with it? My sunset. That's right. I was just thinking about blanking out about the sunset stuff you were talking about. So right now I have I have a pastel orange dream Enchi het sunset male, right? So right now Garrick has that over at his place. He has a few like past het sunsets that he's gonna probably put that too, because right now I don't have anything up to size to put him to that makes it worthwhile unless I want to make all past het sunset stuff.
Right.
I'm like, I'd rather see if any of those girls prove out. Maybe we get lucky and we'll end up with some visuals, right? Because I have right now, because I have a Bumblebee, Possible Orange Dream, Triple Het, Sunset Hypopide. So that's a female, and she is like slamming food constantly. She's like very good eater. So my thing, it'd be cool to get the hypo in there too. But man, I really looking at hopefully making some Sunset Pied stuff in the future. So hopefully, I can end up doing some stuff with him to some pied stuff, to put back to her eventually when she's up to size.
So this is my Pos double het hypo sunset male with the crazy ringer.
Sure.
I think he might prove out, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
There's a potential.
Yeah, that's a pretty good ringer there. That's pretty neat. Like good pixelization on that. So
yeah. But yeah, so I'm pretty, I'm starting to focus on the sunset. I like what it's doing. A lot of people don't like it because it's browning out, but
yeah, so
like the leopard Mojave sunset, crazy, and people are coming out with crazy banana hypo sunset combos.
Yep. And that's the thing too. Like sunset's one of the sunsets, like the recessive pastel. If you think about it, like a lot of people don't like pastel because it gets so dirty and browns out, whatever. And sunset, same thing. Like I don't think that an adult sunset looks cool. I think the babies look neat, but then once they have a few sheds and they start growing, it's like just get it in with Desert Ghost. And it's
an adult clown doesn't look good.
Right.
People got 30, 40 clowns in their collection, so that's a poor excuse for why you don't like sunset. No ball python, like except for the DG and white lace stuff, nothing really looks good as an adult. So we're producing it as babies and mid-age to look good, but now we got DG and lace and white lace and other enhancing genes to make it look good into adulthood. So to say it looks ugly as an adult does not, that's not a good excuse for me.
Right. And to touch on the enhancing gene thing too, like and you and I were talking about this briefly before we went live and everything, is scaleless head. So like scaleless heads without being the visual, like the actual scaleless snake, and you have just a scaleless head, that's like a major enhancing snake. I had some scaleless head combos that I produced last year. One was like a super pastel scaleless head. One was a super pastel Enchi scaleless head, and those things looked DG. And I'm not shitting you. I was like, God, I think if you go on my Instagram and scroll down to what I produced last year, it was like those things were just hot, And so people, I've seen people do that now. There's like scaleless head. Don't even worry about making scaleless with them. Just use it as an enhancing gene, So there's so many really cool genes out there to work with, and it's like the possibilities are endless because there's just so much stuff, but yeah. Kind of looking at what time it is here. I know it's kind of starting to get late. I know my kids might still be up yet, not sure, but kind of
I made sure I took through it.
kind of running down near the end of stuff here. Do you we kind of touched on like some of your future things with some of the recessives and stuff like that. Where do you see Reggie's Urban Jungles in like 5 years from now? Like where are you hoping to be at, like, with what you're working with and like kind of where you're at like as a whole?
So the plan right now, honestly, is I had a 4-year plan started 2 years ago. In 2 years, I plan on being full-time. My goal was to, if I can make enough profit or green from my snakes outside of, buying food for them, equipment, reinvesting it, if I could make that 4 years consecutively of what my full-time job was, then I would be comfortable going into it full-time.
Sure.
So right now I've done it 2 consecutive years where I've made enough selling snakes that equal my full-time pay right now. So if I can do that 2 more years, so 2023, 2024, I will feel comfortable enough with what I have to pay my bills, travel, have an emergency fund and all that.
Yep.
And obviously every year the collection grows, it gets better. So the quality of animals that I'm producing is going to get better. So it's going to improve. So I do want to be full-time in this in the next 2-3 years.
Sure.
And go from there. And, like Ozzy for his Patreon, he's telling you how to reinvest your money outside of snakes. So you have other assets, so you can have other things to lean on without coming out of your 9 to 5. So that's something that I'm going to try to do if I, if it's meant for me to do.
Yeah, definitely. So that's one of the things I've kind of like went back and forth on is, do I want to do this full time eventually? And it's like, obviously the fun answer is like, yeah, heck yeah, I'd love to do this full time and not answer to a boss, and just do the snake stuff. And, definitely the fear of not making what I make, in 1 year, because, it's all dependent on your odds and stuff,
Right.
or, something crazy happens out of the norm. It's like, you obviously want to have a backup plan or something.
Well, like we had a power outage,
Yep.
and luckily it didn't affect my area, but I'm in an apartment, so I can't have a backup generator. If it stays out for 2-3 days and all my clutches are in there, I lost an entire year's worth of work.
Right.
So that's another thing that's scary, in itself. But, I'm about to have a house, so I can, have that emergency backup plan and all that. But my current position, I could have lost 12 months worth of work and, had to start from scratch. But
yeah. Well, that's the thing too for me. Like, I'm so busy with a lot of my shit too. Like I can't even fathom doing like this full time. I mean, obviously there's a little bit of stuff. I have the one, 40 bin rack of adults. I have a behind the sign thing. I have a 10 bin rack of, but it's not filled, but just the big girls that can't fit in those 40s, and then, yeah. So, it's just like, what I have right now, I couldn't even think about doing that. I'm probably going to I think I'll make around $6,000 this year when it's all said and done. Unless I have, I say that, but I have a pastel Enchi Desert Ghost, Posset Clown, Posset Hypo male that bred to my Pastave Clown girl. And she's got like anywhere between 9 and 11 eggs in her. And that was a big girl I got from Ozzy before I got out of everything. And I still have her, thank God. So, I mean, if he proves up to be Het Clown, that could make a major clutch for me, because I could ultimately make super pastel Enchi Mojave clowns that are Het Desert Ghost if he proves out.
But then, so let's say he does prove out and you do hit some, do you
sell it? I'm not going to sell it anyways, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's my dilemma. Like, I made so much Posset monsoon stuff that I think is going to prove out. I can't let it go. Like, I got maybe like 2 or 3 things that I got a couple females I'm going to let go, because literally everything that's Posset monsoon or probable has Mojave in it. And I'm not trying to make a bunch of white snakes, so I got to let some of it go. But it's like, you're making high dollar clutches, but at the point I'm at, I have to keep everything back because I need to grow it up and breed it. Now, once they're up to breeder size, then I can start selling some of that stuff. But right now, I'm making $30,000 clutches I can't sell. So I'm really $0 clutches.
Right. Yep. Exactly. No. If I had some good odds sex wise, and if I have enough, visual clown stuff, whatever, if he proves out, I'll probably at least let something go. I know my wife would be happy with that, especially if I end up selling it instead of doing a trade or whatever. But, like I said too, like the thing would be like, I think right now, I think a regular, visual clown that's het desert ghost for a female, I think it's going for around 3 to 3,500, something like that for a desert go or, for a clown het desert ghost female. And then you should start putting on the other genes. You're looking at, maybe 5, 6, 7 grand or whatever, depending on what you get. Somebody were to say, hey, I'll give you a pair of het zebras for that, or something like. Right. I might consider it because that's something I want to get into.
Well, or toss this out there. If anybody's interested, I got a 1.1 100% het hypo, 50% pos het monsoon. Think both of them are going to prove out. And the female is Mojave Yellow Belly. Up for sale or trade. All right. It's going to toss that out there.
So if you guys don't get to him before I start producing some shit that I can do some chance of it.
Right. I can even bring it to Tinley too. Just let me know.
Right. That's true. That's true. So yeah, just kind of wrap things up and stuff. Now if people want to get a hold of you, hey, I actually ask you this before I get into this part. So I was looking for you on Morph Market and I didn't see a Morph Market page on there. Did you?
So I have a Morph Market, but I like everything. Everything's just going in the shed now.
Sure.
They're getting their first meals into it. And like we talked about earlier, me personally, I like to get, about 100 grams, 150 grams before I list it.
Yep.
And so that's where I'm at right now. Like I have
for some stuff.
I got triple het clown pie genetic stripes that are ready to go. I'm actually bringing a few animals to Tinley. My rat guy is going to be there. And he said I could drop some off at the table. So
sure.
If anybody's interested in what I got, just hit me up on Instagram and all, Facebook, and I can bring it too. I'm bringing shirts and, stuff to Tinley. So if you don't want to pay for shipping or we can work something out, just let me know. We can make it happen.
Sounds good. And I believe, and if the links aren't below on this, this video right now, so we're on the StreamYard thing, but on the actual thing, if the description should have his links for his Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. So you should be able to get a hold of Reggie. If you're good. Yep, that's right. And if you are going to be at Tinley, you'll probably run into him. So be sure to, say hey to Reggie and stuff. I'll be walking around. I'll probably either have my Hissy Fit Reptile shirt on or I don't know, maybe a US Arc shirt or something like that. But yeah, if you see my ugly mug walking around, feel free to stop me and say hey. I'm definitely looking forward to running into you, Reggie, when we get down there. Hopefully we can shoot the shit a little bit longer and grab something to drink or whatever and all that good stuff. And hopefully see a lot of you guys down there as well. So hit us up. Anything in the last ad here before I let you off here, Reggie?
I definitely appreciate the opportunity and you letting me use your platform to do a little more networking, get my name out there. So, and like I said, I've watched you before we even had a conversation on YouTube years and years ago. Like I said, when you were one of the leaders in the DG game. So definitely it's good to see you back in the hobby for sure, because you were definitely paving the way and I expect you to do it, again in the future. So
yeah, well,
the opportunity, man.
I'm looking forward to it. And I'm actually, the thing is I'm having more fun now than I ever have. And that's like a big part of it, and doing this podcast thing. I wasn't even sure about doing it. Somebody put it in my head. They're like, you should try doing it and stuff. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like,
might as well, man.
I'm like, why not? Just let's fucking do it, So
you learn about yourself and you learn about people that you thought you knew.
Yeah. Well, and I like bullshitting about the snakes and stuff. It's nice. I told my wife, I'm like, hey, I got this guy scheduled this time. We're gonna be down there doing some podcast stuff, and shooting the shit with somebody. So yeah, it's fun, and I look forward to doing more podcast stuff. I definitely want to have you back on here again in the future, Reggie. By the way, so I'll get a hold of you again in the future here, maybe as we get into the 2023 season and stuff like that, and kind of see where you're at, see if you added Monarch and Puzzle, all that kind of good stuff. So, So, but yeah, so I'm gonna let you off here. I'm gonna talk to these people just for a little bit again. If you want to hang tight, I'll actually reconnect with you in just a sec here and
Okay.
and sign off and all that other good stuff. Thanks, Reggie.
Yes, sir.
All right, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Reggie from Reggie's Urban Jungles. And man, just some awesome stuff. Really covered a lot of really cool shit. I'm really happy we were able to talk about a lot of the stuff we covered and everything. And I definitely look forward to maybe having one of you guys on here. Maybe one of you guys are listening right now. Look like a few guys are a few people here were messaging about they definitely would like to be on here. So let me know. Wednesday is probably going to be the best day for me, but if it doesn't work for somebody, let me know. We can always work on a different day and all that kind of stuff. And definitely love doing this. So this is fun. I'm just enjoying it. I don't care if 10 people watch it or 100,000 people watch it. It's fun to do this, and I'll keep doing it as long as I'm having fun doing it. So I appreciate you guys. I'm glad this episode 1 went really, really well. I think I had a lot of fun with it, and hopefully you guys did too. And I'm gonna have some more video stuff coming up, and I am actually gonna probably tomorrow night gonna have a live stream on here as well by myself, where I do the giveaway. I had if you go back and watch the Sizzler project video that I did, I mentioned in there's like what I think is just a pastel yellow belly, but it might have something else going on with it. It's a male. I'm gonna be giving that away. So anybody who commented on that video, we'll do the random comment picker. And then also there's a video from like a month or two ago about donating US ARC. So the winner, I'll either buy their US ARC membership, bronze membership for them, and they'll get like the shirt and all that stuff, or they can donate it to US ARC or buy something from my swag store or whatever. So yeah, appreciate you guys. I'm glad you guys all enjoyed me. I think we were up to like 20 at one point in time, 21, 22. So way more than I thought. You guys are awesome. I apologize if I didn't get you guys' stuff up on here, your comments and stuff. To be honest, I forgot that it was over on the side for a little while there. So I'm definitely gonna rewatch the episode just so I can see you guys' comments and the live chat stuff and everything, and definitely look forward to doing this again next time. Right now I'm working on not 100% sure who I might have somebody on next Wednesday. So hit that bell notification to be notified if I do go live. You'll have a notification before I go live and everything, probably a few days beforehand. And yeah, we'll try doing something hopefully every Wednesday. If not, like I said, I'll let you guys know my schedule. But without rambling any further, we'll talk to you guys next time. These have been Reptiles Remixed. This is the Reptiles Remixed podcast. I'm DJ Knack signing out. You guys have a good night. Didn't end it yet.